Hello everyone, welcome to Small by Tailies. In today's story, we will discover the dangers of making decisions in anger and the incredible power of calm thinking when facing life's toughest challenges. Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom, there lived a young king named David. At just 25, he had inherited the throne after his father's passing. Throughout his youth, David was guided by a wise teacher named Edward, who taught him not only about leadership but also about kindness, patience, and wisdom. After his father's death, Edward became the king's most trusted advisor and chief minister. For many years under their guidance, the kingdom flourished. But one year, everything changed. A terrible food crisis struck the land due to a mistake in the weather forecast, a mistake made by Edward himself. Frustrated and angry, King David acted without thinking. In the heat of his temper, he ordered Edward, his mentor and friend, to leave the kingdom and never return. Heartbroken but calm, Edward obeyed. He left the palace and all his comforts behind, settling in a distant village. Though he still had wealth, he chose to live simply, farming the land and helping villagers with their problems. Over time, Edward became deeply respected in the village for his wisdom and gentle spirit. Meanwhile, back in the palace, King David began to struggle. Without Edward's counsel, every decision felt heavier. Slowly, regret filled his heart. He realized he had made a terrible mistake, one born of anger, not reason. Determined to make things right, David sent soldiers across the kingdom to search for Edward. Weeks passed, but no one could find him. The kingdom was vast, and Edward's whereabouts remained a mystery. Then, an idea came to the young king, a test of wisdom. He ordered his soldiers to deliver a letter and a clay jar to every village head. The letter said, "Return this jar filled with wisdom within 1 month. If you fail, fill it instead with precious jewels." When the jar reached the village where Edward lived, the leader was baffled. "How can we fill a jar with wisdom?" he asked. The villagers panicked, fearing they'd be punished for failing the king's strange request. They turned to Edward, begging for help. Calmly, Edward took the jar and said, "Don't worry. I'll make sure this jar is filled with wisdom by the end of the month." The villagers, trusting his quiet confidence, left the jar with him. Days went by as Edward pondered the problem. Then, one morning, he noticed a tiny pumpkin vine growing near his field. A thoughtful smile appeared on his face. He carefully placed a small pumpkin inside the jar without cutting it off the vine. Day after day, he watered it and cared for it. The pumpkin slowly grew, filling the jar completely until it could no longer be removed. When it was fully grown, he cut the vine and sealed the jar. Weeks later, the jar, now holding a perfectly grown pumpkin, was sent to the palace. When King David saw it, his eyes widened in amazement. This is true wisdom," he exclaimed. Only Edward could think of something so clever. At that moment, David finally understood. Wisdom isn't about reacting quickly. It's about thinking calmly and creatively. He immediately set out to find Edward, determined to apologize and bring him back home. So, what can we learn from this story? Never make decisions in the heat of anger. Strong emotions cloud your judgment and often lead to regret. Take a deep breath before acting, because calm thinking opens the door to wise solutions. Remember, true wisdom often comes from patience, understanding, and a peaceful heart. Today, we learn new words and sentences through this story. Learning English can be fun when you practice regularly, so keep listening, learning, and growing. Make sure to like, comment, and share how this story helped you improve your English. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next story, right here on Small by Tailies.